Howdy, folks. I'm Brian.
I'm Amber.
So we'll give everyone a minute to pop in here. I know we're like 30 seconds early. As you can see, Amber does exist.
Yes, I've just been editing my novel. I got my comments back from my editor, and I have to edit it voice to text. So,
Yeah, because she injured her arms a little while back and she's still rehabilitating them. So
mm-hmm,
she's working on it. She's working on it. So, and the allergy season has
that too.
been pretty terrible. Like,
Yeah, just like a cloud of pollen on everything.
yeah. Well, I mean, just the other day we were like walking through like the woods, basically. Well, there's a bike trail through the woods, right? And there were like clouds, literal clouds of pollen floating through the air. And that tells you, if anything, how pollen-y it is out here. So, hopefully, uh, you know, you get the picture that poor Amber's allergies are just not doing well. Anyone's allergies out here aren't doing well at all. I'm just gonna say hi to folks in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone, because I kept forgetting to mention this like throughout the week. So I'm pretty sure that we're probably going to be left alone by ourselves. But if that's the case, then we'll just have fun by ourselves, anyways, right? So I guess why don't we then I'll check the participant list one last time. And then yeah, it looks like it's just you and me, Amber. We'll have to make our own entertainment. So I'll give our introduction again. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Oh, my nose itches so badly right now. It's got like a very itchy nose, so sorry, folks. Let's move to our first story. So, before I begin, I kind of want to actually talk about basically what my workflow has been for a long time, and I think that it's going to change here. So, before I haven't been asking the writers of these letters to if I can utilize their works, and it wasn't because I was doing this out of malice. It was because that I just kind of assumed people were fine with their letters being utilized. But I'm making an effort to actually reach out to the people who write these letters and asking them if they can actually, if we can utilize them. So that way they actually are informed that I am using their writing and that they aren't, being blindsided by stuff. So there are some people who may not be willing or want to have their stuff read, and that's fine. I just wasn't doing this out of malice or anything. I just have now changed the workflow, and I'll be asking people before I utilize their stuff, and we'll see how. Hopefully that works all right because it's gonna kind of have to, I guess, right? So let's get started. So I first want to say thank you to St. Pablo here for providing me with this letter. It's I thought it was a really good one, so let's get started. Am I a jerk for getting a kitten when my roommate is highly allergic to cats? So I'm a 22-year-old male and I've always had an almost obsessive desire for a cat, and I used to, and to a lesser extent still do, watch hours worth of cat training tips and tricks for certain situations and review cat products of the week. But I never could fulfill that childhood dream as my mother was completely against pets of any kind. So there was no surprise that when I finally moved out that I immediately wished to adopt my very own cat. Well, I talked to my roommate about my desire pretty early on, and my best friend, a 22-year-old male, was immediately on board, but the second roommate, a 33-year-old male, said that there was no way for me to get one as he was allergic to cats. Well, that was too bad, but I would never be petty enough to hold that against him, as it was totally fair demand, as I've never made a wish for a cat known before that he signed the lease. So, a year goes by, and this man, a 33-year-old male, has been well and truly carved into the annals of the most horrid roommate ever. So, it was with no uncertain terms of relief when he told us that he would be moved out by the end of the month. I asked a couple of times to clarify the date, but all he said was, "You'll never see me again before the start of July." So I started looking for kittens, which is not an easy thing to do lately as the prices of kittens have skyrocketed and it's near impossible to get one that's not ridiculously expensive. I'm talking upwards of $1,000 or more. After a lot of weird cat owners, I finally found probably the cutest thing to ever exist, and all for the price of $100. I started buying the necessities: the scratch post, the kitty litter, a big 10-kilogram bag of cat food the seller recommended, and probably an unhealthy amount of toys. Well, the kitten would be ready for pickup at the 4th of July, which fitted perfectly with the roommate who was going to be moving out. I think he noticed as all the supplies being bought, and he confronted me about it earlier today and scolded me about how inconsiderate I was for getting a cat when he was allergic and I didn't even consult him, etc., etc. Well, I momentarily was confused, so all I said was, "How is me adopting a kitten any of your business when you'll have moved out long before the kitten gets here?" He blew up and got mad and said that he wasn't moving out before the end of July instead, and that I just had to cancel my deal with the sweet lady who I bought the kitten from. Well, I told him that on no certain terms that he needed to go away and that I can't bend over backwards for his whimsy planning. I talked to my landlord and he's fully on my side, but there's a little voice in my head that's asking me if I'm the jerk. And edit. A lot of you are under the impression that I live in the States, which I must correct you that I don't. Most cats found in the shelters here are from wild colonies or from horrible homes, and therefore are extremely stringent requirements for vetting and adoption here. I paid literally $100, which is the cheapest than what any other seller has spent on a kitten in the past 12 weeks in food, vaccine, and so forth. Well, there is no overabundance of free cats, and there's a huge buyer's market for them, where they are indeed overpriced, but they are in generally really expensive. All right, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, but you've been teasing me about a cat tax,
Oh
so
yeah, Amber desperately wants to see the cat
we'll
tax
talk about
here.
this after the cat tax.
Okay, well, here is the cat tax.
Aw, what a cutie.
Yes, it's an adorable kitten.
Yeah, OP, you're 100% not the jerk. Your roommate.
And there's
Oh,
one, and it looks like their little brother or sister
aw.
there. And then a third picture of them. They're absolutely adorable kittens.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're going to get a better floofy roommate. So, good riddance to the old one, and here's a adorable roommate.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I think here is like OP is exchanging a bad roommate for a much better roommate, a much floofier roommate.
Hmm.
And I just am so happy that they were able to get rid of this bad roommate who's been, it seems like they've been causing them a lot of harm. And like now they're finally going to be able to have the cat that they've always wanted. And I'm really happy about that because I think that that's like such a nice thing.
Yeah. And like again, you're absolutely right. Like you asked your roommate, "Oh, you're not coming back," and your roommate's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm gone."
Yeah.
So like if he changes his mind, you can't plan your life around the whims of this guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've already made plans. You already verified that he was indeed leaving. There's not more you can do than that. Like maybe if this was like a emergency situation, but even there, like he's not. You don't have to. Like you're not doing this out of malice. You're doing this because you want a cat. So I don't think that you're the jerk, OP, and I hope you and your kitten have the best of luck in your future cuddles.
All right, our next story is, am I the jerk for trying to talk my friend out of taking a paternity test? My friend Nick and his wife Jess just had a baby. I'm close friends with both of them. The baby looks just like Nick. There is no question that they are related. One of Nick's friends is a bit of a MG toe type of a guy.
Yeah, man going on their own.
Okay. And he brainwashed Nick into wanting to take a paternity test. Nick asked my advice on how to bring up this topic with Jess. I was shocked. I thought their relationship was good and they trusted each other. And the baby looks just like Nick. I started asking Nick questions as to why he thinks Jess cheated. What did she do to make him suspicious? He admitted that she didn't do anything, but he needs this test to be certain. So I told Nick that it's a bad idea and he could really hurt Jess. She had an extremely traumatic birth. The baby was huge. She didn't get an epidural and everything ripped. I think she might even have postpartum depression. What she needs is support and love, not accusations of cheating. He kept saying he needs us to be certain and Jess should be understanding. So I asked him how he would feel if Jess asked him for a paternity test for him and Anna's, his female best friend's baby, who was born last year. He said he would be really disappointed in Jess and it would make him rethink their entire relationship, possibly even break them up. But it's different because Jess doesn't have to spend money on and raise Anna's baby thinking it's hers when it might not be. Nick is now mad at me for not supporting him and helping him. He says that I'm a woman and I could never understand how it is to be the father, and I'm not even trying to understand it, which is partly true. But I can say the same thing about him, that he is not even trying to understand how it is to be a mother, to be basically accused of cheating after such a traumatic birth. Am I the jerk? For clarification, Nick didn't have a baby with Anna, the best friend. Anna had a baby with her own boyfriend. I just tried to use that as an example, asking Nick how he would feel if Jess asked for a paternity test on them, just to be sure Nick didn't cheat on her with Anna and father Anna's child. It was just an example, hoping to make him see how hurtful the accusations were.
And I think like this example of that the friend used, that OP used, I think is actually very valid. So what do you folks think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yeah, I'm gonna say not the jerk, and I'm 100% on board with you, OP. Like, what he is doing is really hurtful because if you have a solid relationship, like if you're going to all the trouble of having a kid with someone, hopefully you trust them.
Yeah.
And the last thing you need is to, someone who has already been through this really traumatic event to be like, by the way, I want to make 100% sure this kid is mine. So, like, you know, like it is really hurtful to the person who is, being asked, like, to have the test done.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
you are saying you don't trust them.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the thing at the end of the day is like he doesn't have any reason to think that she cheated. Like this isn't, oh, I cheated on you and I'm not sure about
Mm-hmm.
the paternity of the child. This is him being told by this guy who his friend who is not necessarily. I looked up this movement, men going on their own, and it seems like it's a pretty misogynistic type movement. So he's trying to convince his friend to get this paternity test, not because like he needs this test, but because because Nick thinks that now. I just think it's a mess. I think it's
It is a
absolute mess,
mess.
and I think that Nick does not need to go out and get a paternity test when there's no doubt about who the father is here.
Right, and he is being a huge hypocrite saying that he'd be upset if Anna did the same to
Yeah.
him. It's like you have to put yourself in your wife's shoes.
Yeah, I think that it's perfectly reasonable to say, hey, they have these roles reversed, and if he was like, I would be fine with that, it might be one thing, but since he's so adamantly opposed to it, it seems like he can't even understand like the problem here. So I definitely don't think he's a jerk.
Well, yeah. Well, and also like he seems his only concern is like, well, but I'm not financially supporting that child, and that doesn't make a difference. Like
Yeah.
if you cheat, it hurts more than just on a financial
Exactly.
level.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. Like the financial bit is only one small part. Like there needs to be more than just the financial bit. Like there's that if you view your relationship only as a financial transaction, then maybe, but in relationships, hopefully you don't view it just a purely
Mm-hmm.
financial thing. So yeah, I would have a really hard time faulting OP for being like, no, don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Amber is gonna grab herself a cough drop now because
A
her voice.
lozenge, a
Oh, a
throat
throat
lozenge.
lozenge. A lozenge, yes. She's having, like I said earlier, some sore throat issues, so let's get on to our next story. Will I be the jerk if I told my sister that I didn't want her to come on my vacation? So thanks so much, OK Reflection, for letting us use this one. I appreciate it. Throwaway since she knows my main. I'm a 27-year-old female and I'm planning a vacation for me and my husband, a 30-year-old male. We have both been really busy with work, moving house, family, friends, etc. that I feel we haven't had a lot of time to just be with each other. So I think my husband so I asked my husband how many vacation days he has left and he said he has 10. So we decided that we wanted to go on vacation to relax and have some fun time together. Well, you see, the vacation spot that my husband suggested just so happens to be also the place that my sister, a 29-year-old female, has always wanted to visit. We were having lunch, and I had mentioned that to my husband, and that I had mentioned to that my husband and I were planning a vacation and how excited I was. She asked where, and I told her. She immediately got excited and told me that she had a great idea. She recently got engaged to her fiance, a 29-year-old male. She said that she could join us, or they could join us, for the vacation, and it could be a really great way for all of us to bond and have their fiance get closer to the family. I'm wondering if I would be the jerk if I told her that I didn't want her or her fiance to come. I just really think it's important for my husband and I to have some time between the two of us alone. I like the idea of getting to know her fiance better, but I maybe think that we could arrange a smaller weekend trip instead, and I go on this vacation with just my husband. Maybe she could just take her own separate vacation to this location with just her fiance. I'm here that so I could use some I'm here they could just use some tick toast her to I think they mean that they're just asking if they could have this the two of them. I remember how stressful wedding planning was. However, I feel guilty because she seems so excited. Will I be the jerk?
No, I don't think you'd be the jerk, OP.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's actually the jerk in this situation,
Right.
as long as the sister doesn't go, completely like, cold, no contact over this.
Right, yeah, that's the operative thing. Like, there wasn't actually anything wrong with the sister being, oh, hey, wouldn't it be great if we went too?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as she can handle the no and respect that,
Yeah,
then she
yeah.
won't be a jerk either. But you're absolutely not in the wrong for wanting a vacation, just the two of you. And you're right, like, a smaller weekend trip is probably a better time for a get to know you thing,
Yeah,
especially.
especially if you don't get along with them.
Well, yeah, yeah, like you've been under all this pressure and stress lately.
Yeah.
You need to decompress, and like introducing a new person into the mix isn't necessarily going to help with that decompression.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure, let me know what you folks think. But I also think that this is like one of those situations where I don't think anyone's at fault. I think everyone's kind of like, as long as all the boundaries are, maintained and respected, I think this is a reasonable request for OP to, give to their sister and say, look, I do want to spend some time getting to know your fiance, but I just don't feel like this is the time or place. And I think that's actually a really fair boundary to set.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have a really hard time faulting UOP. I think that this is a reasonable expectation, and I hope you get to spend a nice long vacation alone with your husband. Like, it seems like it's well deserved here. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. Are you going to be able to read this one, or do you want
Mm-mm.
me to read
It's
it?
on you.
All right, I'm going to read this one. So, our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk for Spoiling My Best Friend's Proposal? So, I'm a 27-year-old female and I'm getting married to my fiance, a 27-year-old male, in a little under 3 weeks. Everything has been going amazing with the planning, and I'm ecstatic for the day. My best friend Cassie, whom I've been friends with since we were 10 years old, is my maid of honor. She is truly one of the sweetest people I've ever met and has stuck with me through everything. She's been the biggest help in planning this whole ordeal, and I wouldn't trade her for the world. However, I've never been the biggest fan of her girlfriend, Sophie. I've always shown her respect and I try to include her in things, but she's a huge introvert and sometimes it can come off as disrespectful in return. Cassie's own words. But they always seem to be very happy together, so I hope that she warms up to me a little bit in time. They've only been together for a little over a year and a half. Well, several days ago, Sophie approached me asking me if it would be okay if she proposed during my reception. She claimed it would be a great way for Cassie and I to bond more, having our weddings linked together and all of that. Not that we need any more time to bond, she's already my other half. I love Cassie to death, but I'd never allow that for anyone. I shut down the idea immediately, and Sophie got all mad and left. She said something along the lines of, I don't need your permission anyways, and walked out the door. Well, this made me a little bit fearful that she would attempt it anyways, so I went to Cassie. Needless to say, Cassie went mad. I never have really seen her get angry, but she was livid. She apologized profusely and said she couldn't believe Sophie would even think of doing something like that, and that this was the end of the conversation. However, 2 days ago, I got another call from Sophie berating me for spoiling her plan to propose, and was informed that Cassie would be attending the wedding by herself and is currently not speaking to her. I was concerned that it wasn't the entire story, so I called Cassie, and she was a mess. She was staying with her parents right now and disinvited Sophie as her plus one because she was scared that Sophie would propose anyways, given the chance, and she didn't want to ruin my wedding. I told her to come and stay with me for a little while instead, and she showed up several hours later and was still a complete mess. She said that her and Sophie had a huge fight and that she was reconsidering whether or not she wanted to stay in this relationship. According to Cassie, these huge fights are very common occurrence. I feel awful for ruining her proposal and potentially ruining her friendship. Cassie has been picking herself up in front of me and continuing to be great with last minute to dos. But I've caught her crying while I'm not around. I love her and I don't want her to resent me for this, so I need to know, am I the jerk, and is there anything I can do to fix this? Edit. I went to Cassie with all of your comments and she broke down. We had a long moment where Cassie finally told me how Sophie really treated her. She didn't previously because she didn't want people to hate her girlfriend. I won't share the details for Cassie's privacy, but needless to say, I no longer respect Sophie. I held her hand as Sophie finally told her. I held her hand as Sophie finally ended things. Cassie will be staying with me for a few weeks while they get her things from their shared apartment and find her a new place to stay. I've even asked her to house sit during our honeymoon, more for her benefit than mine, but I won't share that bit with her. As many of you said, I know I'm incredibly lucky to have Cassie in my life, and I'm so glad to be helping her into this new chapter of her life. We will be going out for dinner and drinks tomorrow with my fiance and a couple of mutual friends, on me, of course, as a huge thank you for everything she's done. Thank you all for your kind comments. We'll be sure next time to find Cassie a partner who is as sweet as she is. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, and it's really good that this kind of all came to light when it did. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like the relationship was very unhealthy,
Yeah.
and I know that Cassie is hurting right now, but in the long run, this is going to be a lot better for her, and hopefully, she can find a partner who's much better suited to her, much more
Yeah.
compassionate.
Well, it sounds like they've been having these blow up fights, these
Mm-hmm.
almost knockdown drag out type fights where they're getting extremely mad at each other and yelling at each other. And I think that like it's normal to have arguments, right?
Disagreements.
Disagreements, but it's not necessarily a good thing if you're yelling at your partner. And I think that that is not that does show like there's some issues here, and the fact that they had such different views on what would be acceptable here kind of shows that they may even have like fundamental differences beyond that. So I do really feel bad for Cassie here because I think Cassie was just trying to show a brave face in a lot of ways, and I think that she really wanted to make the relationship work. And there are just some people who are, they try so hard and everything like that, and it's awful when things fall apart on them and they can't, make everyone happy because it seems like Cassie's kind of a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that Cassie can find someone in the future who's just as nice as she is, and I think that this is such a nice thing that that I think that not that the breakup is a nice thing, but I'm glad that OP is able to be with her and able to comfort her in this time, and that she's not on her own and by herself during
Mm-hmm.
this hard time. So I think that that's a really good thing. So I really do hope for the best for everyone here. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right. Our last letter, and this is going to be a shorter than normal episode, is titled, Am I the Jerk for Leaving Without Paying for Pizza? I just moved into a new city and I'm trying to figure out which restaurants are good here. Prices were listed on the post are all in Canadian dollars. Well, yesterday I looked up a pizza joint's online menu and I ordered the pizza on the phone since they didn't have an online ordering platform. I asked if it was possible to make a half and half pizza, and they said yes. So I picked a 14-inch meat lovers and half all dressed. For a 50-50 like this, every pizza place that I've ever been to would simply charge for the higher priced pizza. So I was expecting to pay the $29.50 plus tax for the meat lovers pizza that was on the online menu, which would have been about 34 bucks. I was surprised when I went to pick it up because the bill was $46. Not only was the meat lover pizza $30, but also they charged me $7 for the other half for a total of $40 plus tax. I understand that there's some extra labor involved with putting two separate toppings on pizza, but $7 seems like a lot for that, especially considering the second half had cheaper ingredients. Well, I'm not a very confrontational person, so I felt really bad about complaining, but I told the cashier that I wasn't expecting the $7 charge, and also the price on the website needed to be updated. He told me that he doesn't set the prices and it wasn't up to him. I felt weird for haggling for pizza, but I told him that I'd paid the website's price of $29.50 plus tax, and I'm not paying the $7 that's not listed anywhere on their website and wasn't mentioned over the phone. He said no, I'd have to pay the $12 more than I had anticipated. Stopping short of asking for the manager, I said okay, that's too much, and I began walking out. He said in an irritated tone, what am I supposed to do with this pizza now? Come back here and pay. And I just took off, leaving them with a strange pizza. This is why I prefer ordering online, but in the future I guess I'll need to be better about asking the price before hanging up when they finish the order. But what about this? Am I the jerk for leaving a small business with a pizza that they probably won't be able to sell? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. The website should have made it clear.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that OP is right that, like, it's really strange that they have a $7 charge. It's not listed anywhere, like,
Yeah.
on their site. Like, if they do half and half pizzas, they should have, like, a disclosure
Yeah.
that half and half pizzas are going to cost you this much more.
Well, it really feels like a bait and switch more than anything. And every pizza place that I've done half and half with, I think they've just charged the bigger price, right? I don't think that it's ever been an issue where they're like, oh yeah, we are going to charge these weird amounts plus more, plus this weird $7 surge charge. And I think that this was an unreasonable expectation. They should have apologized to OP and been like, oh yeah, I'm sorry that this happened. We're gonna get the price fixed on the website. And I understand that, with inflation and whatnot, sometimes things get more expensive and that they might not be able to afford the cheaper price. But at the end of the day, you can't pass that on to the customer without letting them know ahead of time. Like, that's why there are prices listed so that you can know what to expect to pay.
Right. Well, in this case, if half of the pizza uses cheaper ingredients, then like that doesn't isn't even an issue because they're actually saving money by doing half and half instead of by doing the whole thing meat lovers.
Well, exactly. And you would think that they would want to have a pizza like this. This is like a dream pizza where they're going to actually save money or even make even more money on it, right? And I mean, I certainly think that I just think that this is an odd situation, and I feel really bad for OP here. So, yeah. And Acu says, not the jerk. So I agree with that. So, that's all the stories we have for now, but we'll switch over to a tea time real quick here. And that'll be fun. And we have some jokes, and Amber's going to read us a joke. So you can guess what kind of tea I have if you want.
This might be a dated joke.
Oh, this might be a dated joke.
What comes after O?
I thought P.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Kool-Aid guy.
Oh yeah. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that joke here. So, also, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. We'll be cutting it off here. I know it was a shorter than normal episode, so thanks for joining us here. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, say hi. I know that today, again, I really feel bad because, like, all this week I should have been telling people that it was going to be like the live stream And I do have it listed on the end credits here, but if people don't like go to the end credits or pay much attention to it, they might not realize it. But I was just kind of sitting here yesterday and I was like, "Oh, it's our live stream tomorrow. I guess I need to figure out what to do about that." So yeah, I think I was caught off a little bit guard by it, and I think probably everyone else was too because like we have far fewer people than normal today. So yeah, it's a bit of a quiet episode. We usually have like Mary and Morgan and everyone else kind of popping in to say hi. So thank you, Acu. It was an audience of one today, so I appreciate you joining us here. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I guess we will kind of see you later.
Bye.
Hopefully the lag isn't too bad. I don't know how far behind it is, so but we'll catch you later. Take care. Bye.